what are some of the best ways to get more of your customers to your website? And what are some of the best ways to engage with them once they're there? I'm going to go over my top 10 favorite website marketing strategies for 2018. Hey guys, Wes McDowell here for The Deep End, and this is a question I get over and over again from clients and friends and people who want to know, what's working in 2018 in terms of website marketing. So I'm going to go over just 10 of my favorites. Some of them are brand new to market. Some have been around for a bit, but they're getting traction. And some I'm just putting on this list because they are really working like crazy right now in 2018. So in no particular order, here we go. Okay, so number one I'm going to talk about is Spotify ads. So obviously Spotify is an online music app where you can just stream music, and of course there are ads there. And for the first time ever, Spotify has made it a self-serve ad platform. This is brand new. I think as I record this, it might still be in beta for a lot of people, but basically it allows you as a business to go in, either record your own 30-second spot or provide a script, and they will do it for you with their own, on-air talent, voiceover artists, that kind of thing, and background music as well. So you can go in there and you can target the people who you want to hear your ad. So this is really great if you have kind of a wider audience that you can easily target by things like geography, gender, and age. And it also lets you target based on music preferences, which is not going to be right for every type of business. But if you have the kind of business or the kind of audience that you could easily identify with a particular genre or subgenre of music, that might be really helpful for you. And in terms of price, I think you can get started with an ad spend of around $250. But the cool thing is, per listen, you're paying about 3 to 4 cents usually for a listen. So that $250 will get you pretty far. And so how does this get people to your website? Well, it's a branding play first and foremost. People will hear your business, hopefully several times. That puts an impression in their head. But also there will be a link while your ad plays, because they're usually listening on their smartphone. So they'll be able to just click a link that's there when your ad is playing. Okay, and my number two website marketing tactic would be podcast sponsorships. So podcasts have come a long way, and over 56% of households are now described as podcast fans. So the reach is actually pretty good for the first time ever. And there's over 500,000 different podcasts just on iTunes alone. And the thing about podcasts is they are extremely niche. Like they have a podcast for every kind of interest. So there's a very good odds that your exact audience is definitely going to overlap with a good number of podcasts. So how does this work? How do you actually reach out to a podcast to get this going? And the thing is, it's pretty manual. So you're going to want to go on iTunes, identify the podcasts that most closely align with your audience. And the thing is, there's usually a link to their website, so you can contact them manually. Just ask about it. Ask what they charge for a sponsorship. And one thing I would definitely recommend, because a lot of podcasts will have different ways of doing it. Sometimes it'll be like you would record a spot and they would just play it. I don't recommend that though. I definitely recommend that you have them do live reads for about 60 seconds where the hosts themselves talk about your brand, talk about your offer. The reason I recommend that is because basically now you're leveraging the trust that they've already built up with their audience. So I don't know if you listen to podcasts, I listen to a lot of them. And the more you listen to a podcast, the more you kind of get to know and trust the host. So when they start talking about a product, you tend to listen even way more than you do to any other kind of advertising because you've built a relationship with those hosts. Now, pricing is going to vary widely because some podcasts are much larger than others. But the good news is the more niche ones have a smaller audience, but it's a more targeted audience. So you're likely to pay less for the more niche kind of podcast. Okay, my next one I want to talk about are micro influencers, which is kind of similar to a podcast. And in fact, podcasts could be lumped in to micro influencers. Basically what a micro influencer is, think of an influencer like a Kardashian or someone like a big YouTube star. Well, a micro influencer is a notch below that. Think, 2 to 100,000 fans or subscribers. And this is good because they're more affordable than your Kardashians, and they're definitely more engaged with their audience because it's a smaller, tighter knit group. So what you would want to do here is identify the micro-influencers who overlap with your audience the most. So let's say you're a small business accountant. So you're definitely going to want to find an influencer on YouTube who talks to small business owners about getting their business started and going and thriving. And then that would be a really good fit to talk about your services. And of course, pricing is going to vary based on who they are, what they're going to do for you and how often, but it's all pretty much up for negotiation. Okay, next up, I want to talk about creative uses for video. Just about everything works better with video. I talk about it all the time. I'm a huge proponent of using video anywhere you can. It just gets messages across much more succinctly, and it helps it go down easier. Most people are more willing to watch a video than to read, pages and pages of text. So a few ways I would consider using this going forward on your site. Instead of blogging, consider vlogging. It would be the same kind of material covering the same coverage. You would just do it in video form, and then you may want to include a transcript for the actual written content of that page. A few other things you want to do are definitely video testimonials. Those go a long way. Let future customers see what past customers have to say about you in person. Well, not in person really, but on video. And frequently asked questions. So if there's certain questions you get all the time when people call you, address those in a video. So have like a FAQ page where every video addresses one of your biggest frequently asked questions. And if you do any kind of email marketing, put video in that as well. People are definitely going to be more engaged. And the other benefit to using video all over the place is by the time people contact you, they'll get a sense that they know you already, which is a huge advantage for you because they'll already know, like, and trust you before they ever pick up the phone or email you. And video also allows you to shortcut the sales cycle. Basically, you're able to put way more messages into a single video that would normally take you multiple touch points through more traditional marketing methods like email or Facebook ads, for instance. And the best part about this is you only need your smartphone and the right message. There's really no barrier to entry anymore to do this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about works really well if you are a Facebook advertiser at all, or if you've been thinking about it, and that is lookalike targeting. So if you're unfamiliar with that, here's how it works. You basically take an email list that you have, preferably of actual buyers, customers, because that's who you want to replicate. And then you upload that to Facebook. And if they have, it generally works best if you have over 1,000 people on that list. So then what Facebook does is they take a look, they match all those email addresses to their members, and they figure out what do all these people have in common? What things do they click on? What do they like the most? And then what they do is they go out and they find millions of people who closely resemble their behavior. And then it puts your ad in front of all those people. So it's a great way of targeting a cold audience that's not really cold because they're so closely based on people who have already taken action with you. And I've got a recent client, we did this, we had a list, about 1,300 people on their list. They were buyers. We made a series of Facebook ads, and they're getting like 6% click-through rates on that, which may not sound like much, but honestly 1 or 2% is the average. So 6% click-throughs is really good. And they're getting about 100 clicks to their website every day for about 30 cents each. And when you consider how expensive their product is, it's like average price point of around $1,000, that 30 cents goes a long way. Okay, so the next thing, still keeping in with Facebook, is retargeting with Facebook Messenger ads. So retargeting, if you're unfamiliar, you know how when you go on a website and then you'll go to Facebook or you'll go around the internet and you'll start seeing ads for the thing you already looked at? That's what retargeting is. So it's very important to always stay in front of people who are checking you out online, because only about 18% of people going to your site today are anywhere near ready to buy or talk to you or engage with you or anything like that. So very important that you keep in front of them while they're making their decision. That's where retargeting comes in really handy. So what's this new thing I'm talking about with messenger ads? Well, put a Facebook pixel on your website so everybody that comes to your website, they can get an ad when they go on Facebook. What I recommend that ad to be is a video with you or someone on your team saying, hey, if you have any questions about our product or service or offer, click below and ask us any questions you have. And then when they click the button, rather than going back to your website, it keeps them on Facebook, but it opens the Messenger app. So basically now they can chat with you. You or someone on your team can engage with them in real time, answering any questions and keeping them all within Facebook, which is going to end up being cheaper for you because Facebook wants to keep people on the platform for longer, so you'll pay less for it. And retargeting is always a really cost-effective way to spend your ad money because you're only targeting people who have already shown an interest in your company by going to your website in the first place. Okay, while we're on a roll with Facebook, this one is actually pretty cool, and it's owning your own Facebook group for your business. So, what people used to really recommend, I used to recommend hanging out and, joining Facebook groups that would overlap with your audience. Your customer base would be in that group and you could be in there answering questions, generally being helpful. But one thing I recommend now is taking it a step further and owning your own Facebook group. Start small, just invite your current customers or clients in there. Go little by little, answer questions they have. You could even do a Facebook Live video once a week answering questions. That goes a long way. You can even use Facebook Live to teach something new every week. It helps your audience out and it builds authority for you over time, making you look like an expert. And the other thing about a Facebook group versus a Facebook business page is, I don't know what you've heard recently about Facebook, but basically their algorithm has fundamentally changed, making it very hard, if not impossible, for businesses to ever reach people that are just a fan of their page. But if you have a Facebook group, people will see the content you put in your group much more than they would ever see it from your Facebook page. And they generally tend to show a lot of the content in that group on people's timelines. Okay, and enough with Facebook. We're gonna switch gears now to YouTube, which is one of my new favorite things. So basically, they have different ways of targeting than Facebook does. One of them is called Affinity targeting. So basically what that is they've worked out, they've figured out based on people's search history, basically what they're into. Like there's technophiles, people who travel a lot, things like that, like predefined categories. But one of my favorite things, and this is what I'm talking about here, is it's called custom affinity audiences. And I love these. They're so powerful because they basically allow you to ethically steal your competition's customers. And I'll tell you how. All you really have to do is input any kind of website domains or keywords that your audience is likely searching for or websites they're visiting. So let's say you're a brand new salon in town, and if you were to put in the domain names of all the other salons in your area, basically everyone who ever visits one of those websites can now be shown your ad on YouTube. And it's really powerful. And again, you can do the same thing with keywords. So let's say you practice family law and people are, typing in family lawyer in Los Angeles. And you can put that as a keyword, so anyone who's searching for that will now see your ad on YouTube. And if that sounds great, but you're wondering, I don't know how I'm gonna make a video, I'm not really comfortable doing that, that segues very nicely into my next point, which is YouTube Director on site. So what this is, basically YouTube will send a videographer to your business. They'll help you script the video, they'll shoot it and edit it. All that's required of you, obviously, is to help them out, but also you need to commit to a $350 ad spend on YouTube. And that'll actually get you pretty far though, because most ads on YouTube cost anywhere between a penny and 10 cents per view. And that's a 30-second view. So that $350 will get you a lot of views, and then you've got a free ad that you can use. And guess what? You can repurpose that on your website as well. And the cool thing is it's available in most major markets in the country. I looked at the map, there's kind of dots all over it. Looks like if you're in kind of small town USA though, you may be out of luck. It's mostly more around bigger cities. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are social proof plugins. So no matter what your goal for your site is, it always helps to show new people that are coming that other people have already completed that action before. So proof is a plugin that lets you define an action that you want people to take on your site, whether that's downloading something, giving you their email address, scheduling an appointment or consultation, whatever that is, it lets you define that action, and then it captures that action as people make it, and then it displays that other people have done it just like this. And the reason this works is because social proof is an extremely effective psychological trigger, even if it sounds ridiculous. You know, it's the reason why you'd rather eat at a restaurant with a long wait than at an empty one. And this particular plugin is, I think, around $30 a month, but studies have shown it can double your conversion rate. So for that price, depending on what your conversions are worth, it might be very worth having. All right, guys, those are my favorite website marketing strategies of 2018. I hope to add more to this as time goes on, and I'll definitely have one for 2019 when we get there. For more videos like this, just click subscribe down over here. And to see what I can do for you, go to thedeependdesign.com. I'd love to get you set up with a website strategy of your own. So go to thedeependdesign.com. Other than that, I'm Wes McDowell for The Deep End. See you next time.